Hi guys, Alex Taylor down here at Lytham Golf Academy, and today we're going to teach you how to pitch like a tour pro. Right guys, if you're new down to my channel, welcome down to Ali Taylor Golf. If you are a returning viewer, thank you. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you don't currently subscribe, just click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell, and then you'll find out as soon as I drop a new video. But for now, let's get on with learning how to pitch like a tour pro. Right then guys, so all too often, particularly when I go out on playing lessons, lots of golfers talk about how it's their long game that really lets them down, or they're talking about chipping and putting. But the one area I really think most golfers don't do themselves justice with is pitch shots. So anything less than a full shot before you get to chipping. So I've set us up about 70 yards from the target on TrackMan, and I'm just going to hit a couple of shots that I would generally see guys do. We're going to help you understand why golfers are very inconsistent with pitching and what we need to do to make you more like a tour pro, if not able to hit exactly the shots they hit every single time. So one of the first shots I will see with golfers is that they've got 70 yards in. Generally, the setup isn't too bad. We see balls up in the air. It's not making the carry distance. It's not too bad because it's on line. Or the other shot, which is potentially the even more destructive one, is that one that takes off like a 3-iron, way past the target. And just out of the two, it's the second one that's the really destructive one. But I think once you're catching the ground first, which you did on the initial one, kind of creates all sorts of issues with distance control. So the big thing that I think a lot of golfers get told, particularly when they're pitching, is that they need to feel that they really kind of hit down on the ball. So what we see at address is, generally speaking, the ball will be fairly central, the hands would sit slightly in front of the golf ball. But what we want to do is we want to control the angle of attack with the club head. So that's the angle down, or up in some instances, that the club is travelling as it gets to the golf ball. And I think a lot of guys, because they try and hit down a lot, what they tend to do is they either move the low point of the swing a long way forward, by which time the club hasn't had time to fully get down, or they try and help the ball in the air. They get the low point behind the ball, and then the club's actually travelling up by the time it hits the ball, but it's gone through the turf first. So the first one we're going to talk about is the one where you catch the ground a little bit early. And like I said, I think a lot of that is guys swing back as normal, and then from there they really try and help the ball in the air. The weight moves back, and like I said, the low point of the golf swing goes behind the golf ball. So we see it gets up in the air, the club bounces a little bit on the mat, comes up short of where we're intending, and actually there, my club was travelling just very slightly. We can see on the screen 0.2 inches up, and the low point was kind of directly under the golf ball, so I would have just maybe caught the ground a little bit early on that one. So the second instance, from that first one, we know we're trying to kind of help the ball up. The second one that we see is that thin one, where I think guys swing back quite decently, but then really pull the handle of the club forward. And what that does is it really moves the bottom of the golf swing a long way in front of the golf ball. And like we said, there's that kind of 3-iron shot going like an absolute exocet across the green. And we can see the low point of the golf swing there, 6 inches in front of the golf ball, and the club travelling down nearly 8 degrees. So a lot of tour players talk about how they want to feel that even though the club's moving down through impact, that it wants to be fairly shallow, so not too much. And I could think a great way of feeling that for guys is almost to let the weight of the club start the downswing for you. So as you swing back, you're just really going to let the weight of the club swing down. We're not going to try and flick, and equally we're not going to pull the handle towards. So we're going to have a few practice swings. And I think the problem for a lot of guys is they almost feel when that happens as though the club feels like it gets past. That's not the worst sensation in the world. We're not flicking, but we are letting the weight of the club control the swing a little bit more. So once you've done a few swings, let's hit a couple of shots and see if we can actually get a feel for what we're doing with the weight of the club. So that one fell pretty decent strike. A little bit to the right, but carry distance not too bad. And we can see 3.4 degrees down. My low point just a little bit in front of the golf ball, so that was better. Maybe felt I still pulled the club a little bit, and that would be my bad one with pitching. Again, directionally these aren't fantastic, but much better strike on the golf ball. And again, 3.5 degrees down. So starting to be much more consistent with these contacts. That felt probably the best out of the lot. Straight at the flag, a little bit long. So fractionally steeper because my low point was a little bit more in front of the golf ball. Felt a good strike. Little bit long. And again, more shallow through the ball, controlling where that low point is. And once we can start doing that, we can start being more consistent on how far those are going. So then if that's pitching too far, I know I'm just making slightly too big a swing. Let's make a slightly shorter backswing with the same feeling on the way down. Better distance control. And all of a sudden you start getting the ball nearer the hole from pitch shots. There's no three putts. We're two putting instead of three putting, maybe one putting instead of two putting, and we're certainly never missing greens. But get a feel for the weight of the club starting the downswing, control that angle of attack, and start pitching more like a tour pro. Right then guys, so like we said there, if you can start understanding how to control the angle of attack with your wedge, that's going to help you strike the ball more consistently. And once we strike the ball consistently, we can learn how far we hit the ball with a full shot, but more so with these pitch shots, it's then the length of the swing that's going to control how far the ball goes, not the quality of contact. So put all that into practice. Let's enjoy hitting lots more shots close to the flag, getting those scores down and enjoying your golf more and more. If you have enjoyed today's content, click the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, make sure you get my content as soon as it lands. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.